Hello again, everyone. This is Jim here with another video update. And today I'm going to be talking about another YouTube channel. And because it's a fascinating story, I want to bring your attention to. And the channel is called, I believe it's called the Fasting Fatman. And of course, I'm going to link to it. Um, and I'm going to put up some pictures from the channel here in a little bit. And I'm pretty sure probably a lot of people have seen this come up in their YouTube recommendations. Like if you're on YouTube and if you're a subscriber to my channel, you've probably seen this, the Fasting Fat Man. This is a story. This is a guy that has been on a fast, a prolonged fast for, I think he's now up to around, I think his last video was 135 days. He's been fasting. And so that was, I think he must be around 140 days now. Basically, since the beginning of the year, he started this. And he's lost upwards of, I think, over 200 pounds now. This was a morbidly obese guy. His name's John, Big John. Not as big anymore, but he was up at 530 pounds, I believe, at his when his journey started. So, big problems. He was motivated to do something about it because of his child. He thought, I'm a danger to myself and my child at this weight. I've just got to do something. And he started this journey fasting, completely fasting. And it's an incredible story. I'm drawing your attention to it for a couple reasons. Number one, I mean, this is the ultimate N=1. He's been sharing it like with weekly updates on YouTube. And this is really pushing the envelope. And it's doing something that you don't see every day. And it's doing something that basically goes against all conventional wisdom. And all the experts would advise against it. And it's just, fasting is a taboo thing. You're not supposed to do it. It's so dangerous, blah, blah, blah. And look, I'm not going to come on here today and say, everybody's got to do this. But, in my journey, I used fasting, not to this extent, but fasting was instrumental in my change. And I've been trying to stress the importance of the fasting part of it. It was, in my case, it was fasting and diet together that brought about the change. But if I wouldn't have had the fasting with the diet, I wouldn't have been able to break the old habits and to make the kind of transformation that I did. So it wasn't all about diet. It was the combination of the two. Now, this Big John has started out, he started out with a, quite a bit longer fast than I did. My long fast, quote unquote long fast, was 2 weeks, and he's now, what is it? Like I said, 140 days. He's doing it very methodically. And he's researched it, and he's come up with a protocol, a fasting protocol, which is, I'm going to say, better than what I did. I just kind of plunged into it blindly. He's doing a protocol. I'm going from memory now from watching his videos. He uses electrolytes, an electrolyte solution. He takes some apple cider vinegar, I think, with some water. And he uses something called nutritional yeast, which I had never heard of, but and I think maybe he might have some tea or coffee, I'm not sure. But so he's, this is his regimen is something like that. If you want to know the details, you can check it out on his channel. But it's working for him. I mean, the weight is melting off, of course. The thing that strikes me about this long fast is that if you watch his videos from the beginning, um, he's maintained, a very positive, upbeat demeanor. He's active. Uh, you know, when I did my fast, my 2-week fast, um, I didn't end it because of hunger. And as Big John will say, um, the hunger goes away after a while, and you're not hungry anymore. But why I couldn't, why I had to stop after about 2 weeks is, first of all, I thought maybe I was doing something dangerous. I wasn't that confident that it wasn't dangerous. Uh, but I felt deprived. I felt kind of irritable. I felt like I wanted to have some fun or some enjoyment, and I was missing out on things. And I was just kind of irritated. I felt like I was in prison because I didn't have something enjoyable to look forward to each day. And that played on me after a while. And I don't see that in Big John. You see his videos. He comes on. He's quite a humorous guy. He's got a great sense of humor. He's telling jokes, and meanwhile he's fasting for months on end. So I don't know, how he's able to do it. I don't know if it's just his method or his mindset or a combination of it, or if he's a special physical entity. But whatever he's doing is working for him. Now, I mentioned I like that it goes against the conventional wisdom, and why I want to draw attention to it is that, part of my whole point of making my channel and talking about things is because, as I've said many times, I'm unhappy with the conventional wisdom and the advice from the mainstream medical profession and dietitians and coaching of all sorts, to eat frequently and to get a balanced diet and eat less, move more, avoid fat, and all that stuff. I've made no secret about my displeasure with that. Well, here's a guy, you talk about, on the extreme end of it, if you tell somebody, you tell a dietitian that you're going to start skipping breakfast, and they'll kind of freak, oh, that's not advisable, you need most important meal of the day, you got to have your breakfast. And or you take it a little further and you're going to have a 4-hour window or eat once a day, and no, that's just reckless and dangerous, and forget about any fasting for days, or what about, in this case, for months. This is just, nobody would ever recommend that. And like I said, I'm not recommending it, but I just want to bring attention to the fact that it's possible, that we are capable of going without food, and we don't just die, we don't just fall apart. Our bodies adapt, and we start burning our own fuel. And yes, some of that is muscle. You don't need all the muscle. When Big John was at 530 pounds, just his body mass and his size dictated that he would need a certain amount of muscle just to move and to carry on. As he loses weight, he's down now a couple 100 pounds. He's got excess muscle that probably some of it is being consumed. But I'm pretty sure the majority of what he's losing is fat. His body's running on fat. So I like that this is an anecdote, and it's one we can all pay attention to and watch in real time. He makes kind of like weekly videos, weekly weigh-ins, and like I said, it's interesting to watch. He's a likable guy, very humorous, and you can't help but root for him in this journey. I think actually his story, now he's only partway there. He's still on this on this extended fast. Now at some point he's going to start eating again. I don't know when. He seems to evaluate it like every 30 days, and he does so. Seems like he's rather careful about that. He's listening to his body. I think he does check in with a doctor, and he I think he even discusses it with his wife. Should he carry on or not? And so he's doing it methodically. At some point, he's got to start eating again, and at that point, will begin the next phase of his journey. Because he's not there yet. I think he's still somewhere north of 300 and 330 pounds, or 320 pounds, or something in that range. So he's got a ways to go, but so it's still time to catch him and watch this story. I think it would be great. I mean, it's already an incredible story, but I wish that I really hope that he's successful going the whole way, in making this transition to eating and changing his lifestyle and his way of eating, and he brings it home all the way to the finish line and show that there is an alternative to the bariatric surgery approach, which I just am totally against. I don't like that approach, cutting out your stomach or bypassing this or that. I think it's a temporary, it's a Band-Aid fix, and I know some people claim that it's worked for them, but I just see an enormous amount of trouble with people that have relapsed on that and gotten fat again. So I hope he's able to pull it off, and I think his story is it's a rare story, but I think it's going to garner a lot of attention. It already has. His channel is just blowing up, and is attracting a lot of views. And I think along the way, as more people find out about this, it's going to continue to blow up, and this is going to be, I see in the future books and TV appearances, and he's going to be sort of a mini celebrity. I know he's not going for that, but that's what I predict. And maybe it will result in a lot of people rethinking the potential for fasting, what it can do for you. Again, I'm just going to caution, fasting for a real long time is not for everybody, and shouldn't be taken lightly. And Big John certainly hasn't. So it's not for everyone, but this is just an extreme case. This is what it can be. Like, this should clear the way for anybody thinking, I couldn't fast for a week. Well, yes, you could. Almost anybody can, or 2 weeks. You're not going to die. So anyway, that's my background on Big John, the Fasting Fat Man. I just want to draw attention to it. I know probably a lot of my viewers already have heard about it, because YouTube is recommending that. I saw it in my mentions many times. Not in my mentions. In my YouTube was suggesting it to me over and over. I never did click on it because I thought it was maybe just a gimmick, or come on, fasting 120 days. I didn't believe it, really, and I didn't click on it. And then one of my subscribers, actually is Robin Beers, said to me one time, check it out. You're going to check out this Big John story. And so I did, and I'm glad she recommended it to me because it's quite incredible. So if you haven't heard about it, check it out, follow along. I think it's interesting, and he's, if nothing else, he's quite entertaining. I think one other thing I'd like to do here is I'm hoping that Big John will watch this video, because I want to talk directly to him a little bit in the off chance that he does watch this. Because, okay, I'm not an expert. I'm not a fasting expert at all, but I'm a guy who's walked in those shoes. Okay, I've transformed myself. I've used fasting, a fasting lifestyle, and a dietary change to completely transform myself. So I'm not unfamiliar with what he's going through, the mental aspect, and certainly why I'm going to give just some recommendations or some advice for him as he makes the transition back to the land of the eating, because I think that's going to be a critical point for him. And this is where, I don't know, I have some advice I'm going to offer him. He can take it or leave it. I'm always interested in advice from people that I know have walked the walk. You know, I see people on Twitter or whatever, obesity experts. I can tell they've never been obese and probably have never coached or counseled people to manage their weight properly, just because of the the type of approach that they recommend. There's other people that I can tell, okay, I know they've been obese because of the way they talk. So you don't have to be an expert, just somebody who has lived the story, um, who's walked the walk. So I'm hoping maybe that Big John will listen to me, because I kind of have lived what I'm talking about. Okay, couple couple points I want to make. He has mentioned Big John, the Fasting Fat Man, or the formerly Big John, the Slimmer John, has said that he's got a goal. He wants to get, I believe, to 195 pounds by this December of 2019. So, and I'm not sure where that goal came from, uh, why he has that goal. It seems a little aggressive, especially because where he is and how much he's lost, and he's got to start eating at some point. Um, I would just, my first recommendation would be, don't stress yourself about that particular goal. Um, if you hit it, fine. If you hit 195 pounds, maybe it'll be before December. Maybe it'll be 3 or 4 months afterward. It doesn't matter. You know, so I wouldn't get too hung up uh, on the goal. I mean, on being a certain weight by a certain amount of time. After all, I mean, there's no bonus for that, right? You don't have a wager on that, I assume, and so just don't. I just see it adding stress. Now you made that public that you got this goal in mind at a certain weight, but don't let that stress you. Just let it happen. The other thing I want to say about goals, I had a goal. My if you're watching Big John, my story. I was 352 pounds when I started, and I'm down to 165 is where I ended up. My original goal was 180, and as I got close to that goal, I realized 180 was not going to do it. I needed to go lower. So I set a secondary goal of 15 pounds lower, 165. But I didn't really push on that. It kind of just happened over the next 6 months. It took me like another 6 months to lose that 15 pounds. And frankly, that was a pretty good goal, because I'm about a year later now, and I'm still at 165. So I've been maintaining there, and I'm happy with that. So I guess what I'm just trying to say is that your goal may change. As you come up on 195, you might say, well, that's not going to be my final goal. I got to go further. So just be flexible on that. Don't stress yourself. Let it happen. I want to say one comment. I've heard in some of your videos that you make the comment that you've broken your food addiction, and you can just tell that the addiction is gone. And I believe what you're saying. I know that feeling. uh, while I was fasting, I did feel like I was broken of my addiction to food, uh, different kinds of food. Um, I just want to caution you that you might, it might not be that they're broken yet. Um, I don't believe that you can totally feel confident that the food addictions are broken until you're eating, until you have an established new way of eating, and that you can resist the temptation, different food temptations. Because I found that at different times, those old addictions would sort of, like these old tapes, these old habits would kind of pop up out of nowhere at certain occasions, and think, oh, suddenly I'm being told, or I feel the urge to do this or that. Where did that come from? I thought that was gone. And so there's little doubts that come up along the way, and I just want to caution you about being overconfident that the addictions are broken. Um, Maybe they are. Certainly, you've been fasting a long time, but my advice is just to carry on as if they are not broken, uh, and for the time being. Once you start eating again, um, you'll see in time. You'll feel the confidence in different situations. I know right now you're not hungry, and when you're around people who are eating, I know it's easy to not eat because you're not hungry. But once you start eating again, it's going to be a different dynamic. So anyway, I think I made my point there. Take the addiction thing seriously. That they can kind of lay dormant in the back of your mind and resurface. I just want to recommend, when you start eating again, I mean, take advantage of this opportunity. I see the fast, and especially a long fast like yours, as a great opportunity, as a total reset. I mean, you're like you've wiped the slate clean, and you're starting from a blank template. So you can create uh, the optimal lifestyle for yourself, and just try to think about what that might be, uh, and take it slow and take it seriously. In other words, I would just recommend, maybe think long and hard about the kind of foods you want to reintroduce when you start eating. I would, I'm sure you're not going to go back for your old diet. I'm sure you know what to avoid. The crappy food, the processed food. I would stay away from the addictive foods, like the high carb foods, the high starchy foods. Um, what ended up working great for me is the carnivore diet. I went to a low carb diet, and then I went to almost a zero carb diet now, and it's effortless. Maintaining that is effortless, especially um, eating one meal a day. And that's the next comment I want to make to you is, whatever diet you end up choosing, I would stick with the one meal a day, because that is the ticket to you'll continue to lose weight if you eat one meal a day, as long as you're not eating junk. If you're just eating reasonably good whole food, uh, real food, you'll continue to lose weight, and so I wouldn't worry about that. It's also the key. OMAD is the key to one meal a day, is to making sure that you've broken your addictions. And it kind of the worst that can happen on OMAD is that you might stall. I mean, there's not a lot of bad that can happen on OMAD, and there's actually so many other benefits too. It's just, so I would recommend OMAD rather than any other approach. And then and then just concentrate on feeding yourself good food, and everything should take care of itself at that point. You'll, like I said, you'll continue to lose weight, um, even just doing nothing else but that. Maybe you'll want to continue. Maybe you'll want to do an occasional fast or whatever, just to reignite the process if it stalls. But you know, you're the fasting expert, so you'll be able to make that call. And at some point, you're going to feel like like exercising, and you'll probably be encouraged by people to start exercising. I would just don't rush it, and keep it, especially for the next, 50 to 100 pounds. Keep it light duty exercise. Walking in the sunshine would be a great one. Frequent walks in the sunshine. I think I wouldn't go too much more than that. I mean, for me, as I kept losing weight, I started to get more and more interested in the exercise, and I took up running. But I wouldn't rush that. Just let that happen. Let that go by according to how you feel. But it's not going to hurt walking in the sun. So I guess that's basically it. Take advantage of this opportunity to reset your life. I wanted to stress that OMAD is a great lifestyle, and it worked for me. That's all I'm going to say is I used OMAD and other fasting strategies to lose my weight. And then when I got to the goal, I just kept with the OMAD because I liked it. It was I didn't want to force myself to eat more often. So that's what worked for me. Anyway, I'm sharing that with you because I hope you succeed, and I just wanted to offer my comments and my encouragement. I'm really amazed at what you're doing, and I support you, and I hope you go all the way and have, like I said, the books, the TV shows, and all the fame that's going to come with it. And I hope you just can bring this story home to a conclusion successfully, and be an example for a lot of people out there. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say today on the Fasting Fat Man. Great job, and I hope to see you get there, and keep making those video updates. They're quite funny and they're quite hilarious, even though this is serious stuff, seriously amazing stuff you're doing. So keep up the good work, Big John. And to everyone else, I hope you get something out of this story. It's certainly, it's one it's one you don't see every day. I know there's been, you hear stories about people that have done long fasts, but you're not really, unless seeing it live on YouTube is one thing. Big John's first video, you can see, I think it was just from in December or early this year, he started his channel, and you can see, he could barely get out of the chair. He's real large and bulky, and here he is now. His videos, he's standing up. He's like lost like so much weight. He's cheerful. He's mobile. He's happy. So it's good stuff you're doing. That's about the end of my update for today. Hope everyone's doing well, and we'll see you down the road with another video. Take care, everyone. Goodbye now.